Yeah, basically from the middle of the second quarter on, I kind of knew, I think everybody knew that a lot of the discussion points day after game, regardless of how the game turned out, would be about Brock Purdy and how he played and this penchant that he has shown for throwing interceptions. Way too many interceptions last year, I think, and certainly this year. And this is coming off a game with the Arizona Cardinals against the Arizona Cardinals where he hadn't played in a while, 6 games on the sideline. He played very well, seemed to make all the right reads, all the right decisions with the can system. And by the way, if you want to know more about when Kyle Shanahan calls 2 plays in the huddle and then what the mechanics are, check out the 49ers Talk podcast, which I did with him, the 49ers game plan over the weekend. So you can check that out and just hear about the whole idea behind having 2 plays called in the huddle. But anyway, the things in my mind that separated Brock Purdy from the moment he stepped on the field with the 49ers were 3 things. It was his anticipation, knowing where his receiver was going to be against what coverage, knowing the ins and outs of the coverages, where he could put the ball, and throwing almost kind of blindly based on his knowledge of what the defensive assignments were. It was the decisiveness. It was making that read and getting rid of the ball on time, no hesitation whatsoever, fitting the ball into tight windows. The third part, the accuracy, being able to put the ball exactly where he wanted. And when I look at that game Monday night, his first 2 interceptions, I think that all 3 of those were lacking. It was the anticipation, it was the decisiveness, and ultimately the ball placement. The thing that was interesting about how it was explained, how Kyle Shanahan talked about it, was that he did not criticize at all or second guess the decision making. In other words, based on the play, the defense, everything, the ball went to the right person. That's what Shanahan said. So from that point, I mean, that's a coaching thing. Where Brock Purdy was taught to go with the ball in the lead up to this game, that's where the ball went. But where I think the issues was with the timing of it. It seemed like he hesitated a bit too long. And in the case of the second interception, probably by the time he threw the ball, he passed up much easier plays to get a first down. So I'm going to go through the plays. I'm just going to use still shots from the all 22 to kind of give you an idea, a little bit of what was going on there. So I don't have the video at my discretion, but let's just kind of go through it. And the first one is this one right here. Let's see, can I go full screen? Yeah, let's go just the full screen. So this is the first play, the first interception, a 1st and 10 from the 8-yard line, and it's a deep middle to Juwan Jennings. So Juwan Jennings, you can see on the top at the 24-yard line, he's taken that in-cutting route. And this is probably where the ball or when the ball should be thrown, because you have Demarcus Robinson in the middle of the hash marks, the way he's running, that guy right there, the defensive back will run with him. So even though it's going to look like a contested play, that's probably where that ball should go. And then here's the break, as you see Jennings making his break, and the ball should be put out ahead of Jennings to go ahead and make that catch. And then finally, this is from the end zone view. J.C. Horn is able to step in front because the ball is underthrown. So not an easy play, I don't think, but ultimately, this is where Brock Purdy is taught that he should go with the ball. The second one, second interception in this game. This comes with 9:42 left in the second quarter, a 3rd and 6. So I think this is when the pass should be thrown. You see Brock Purdy there at the 38-yard line, and it's the pass up top. You see Ricky Pearsall at the 18-yard line over by the numbers at the top of the screen. So the ball should be thrown at this point right here, basically throwing the guy open. And the second pass, second shot, this is when the throw is made. Now, see Brock Purdy at the 30-yard line, and he's now stepped up in the pocket, so the timing of the play isn't on schedule, and really looks like at this point, although he can make the play to Pearsall's at the 5-yard line, heading toward the goalpost. At this point, yes, that play is available, but he's got to put it out in front of Pearsall. But to me, the simplest play here is probably just to run the ball, although I see the defender at the 21-yard line and also the defender who is covering Kittle at the 15-yard line, top, just outside the top hash mark. Those guys are going to close that off. And so it's probably not going to get as many yards as it might appear. The other simple play is just to put it on Kittle's numbers right there. Very simple pitch and catch, about a 8-yard pass that's going to be, and Kittle's going to make some big yards. And I think we got okay, so here's after the ball was thrown. You can see where Kittle had an opportunity there to make a really big play because of, let me go back one spot. I mean, Kittle's going to run for a while, and he's going to force a defensive back to make a business decision. So at the time when the ball was supposed to be thrown, yeah, it probably should have gone to Pearsall. At least that's the way the 49ers designed that play. But at the time where he did end up making that throw, that was probably the worst of the three options. And then the third interception on this one, everybody who spoke on this one, anybody with knowledge of that position and the 49ers offense, they talked more about J.C. Horn making a good play. And as you see toward the bottom of the screen at the 36-yard line, that's Kittle, and J.C. Horn is closer to the 50-yard line, and he's running toward the middle. The way this play is designed, it's for Pearsall, deep middle, and J.C. Horn basically just leaves his assignment to go over there in anticipation of making a play. Now, the downside for him would have been that if the ball goes to Kittle, that's going to be a big gain too, because J.C. Horn has abandoned his zone to go over and jump the route for Pearsall. And here's the second shot. Is this the so now you see J.C. Horn at the logo, completely reading that play and getting a jump, and where Pearsall is wide open at that point, there's just no accounting for J.C. Horn. So that's what I got there as far as where, what the 49ers were. Let me get this back up here. There you go. Bottom line, mistakes were made. Brock Purdy is being relied upon as the franchise quarterback to be steady, to be reliable. And, the 49ers aren't going to make any move. They're not contemplating making any move unless there's a determination that his physical status, that turf toe injury, is preventing him from making some of those throws. And Purdy did say after the game, like the throw to Jennings early on, that was something that he needs to drive that ball, not put as much air under it, not give J.C. Horn the opportunity to undercut that and make a play. So was that a situation where his toe prevented him from making that throw. I don't know. I don't know that. Brock Purdy says it wasn't, but again, I don't think that Brock Purdy would admit it, or certainly not make any excuses publicly if that were the case. So, bottom line, Brock Purdy is the quarterback of the 49ers. He will continue to be the quarterback of the 49ers for the foreseeable future, but he needs to clean up the mistakes. The 49ers have less margin for error than they've had in a while. Obviously, last year with the injuries and all that, no Christian McCaffrey, they didn't have much margin for error. But Brock Purdy's got to be part of the reason this team is good, rather than the rest of the team having to cover up for him. And let's face it, in this game on Monday, Brock Purdy did make some plays. He had the one interception. By the way, he wasn't real successful at all getting the ball down the field, but he did have the interception on the 3rd and 6 in the second quarter. But the 49ers as a whole converted third downs at a high rate. They also picked up 2 fourth downs conversions on Brock Purdy quarterback sneaks. So despite his 3 interceptions, the worst interception of the day was from Bryce Young, the Panthers quarterback. The Panthers also converted only 1 of 7 on third downs. So while Purdy did not play well with those takeaways, those giveaways, it worked because the 49ers defense bailed out the team, and Bryce Young wasn't able to take advantage. Now, this week is going to be a situation where I think, they really have to cut down on the mistakes, and they can't give the Cleveland Browns any opportunities, because I don't think the Cleveland Browns offense is going to be very good in this game. The Cleveland Browns defense is really good, and so they just can't give the ball away. A third down incompletion is a lot better, and a punt is a lot better than the alternative. And so that's what the 49ers have to do. And remember, the last time the 49ers went to Cleveland, this kind of shows you how it's turned for Brock Purdy with the number of interceptions. The last time the 49ers went to Cleveland, Brock Purdy was in the midst. That was in the 6th week of the 2023 season. He was in the midst of the second longest streak in 49ers franchise history of not throwing an interception. And he did throw an interception in that game. And so he now holds the second longest streak in 49ers history, 248 pass attempts. That's including the postseason, without throwing an interception. That's what he needs to get back into, making the plays, being decisive, the anticipation, the accuracy. And so that's what the 49ers signed up for when they came through with that long-term extension. He's going to be the quarterback. He's not leaving anytime soon. And from what I can tell, there's still a lot of confidence that this team can go where it wants to go with him at quarterback. Maybe not this year with the injuries on the defensive side, although the defense really picked it up with Jair Brown having his best game. Malik Mustafa playing very well. 49ers, as I said, rose to the occasion Monday night to bail out the 49ers offense for those 3 giveaways. So that's my thoughts on Brock Purdy. Love to hear what you have to say down below. Thanks so much for watching this video, and that is it for now.